Today we're going to be talking about a new release from Omega that has a lot of people very excited. It's on my wrist, and it is of course the Omega Speedmaster Silver Snoopy Award 50th anniversary. Omega received the Silver Snoopy Award from NASA on October the 5th, 1970. Now this was an award that was typically reserved for NASA employees and only very rarely given to contractors. But because of the critical role that the Omega Moonwatch played in the almost disastrous Apollo 13 mission, the astronauts used their moonwatches to time a 14-second rocket burn, which was critical on getting them back on course and home safely. And for that, Omega received the Silver Snoopy Award. Now you might think that the relationship between Snoopy and NASA is a little bit of a strange one, but if you think about it, during the 1960s, Peanuts comic was very, very popular and actually led to NASA nicknaming their Apollo 10 command module Charlie Brown. With the Omega Speedmaster Silver Snoopy Award 50th anniversary, we have a 42mm stainless steel case. The dial is galvanized silver and is in a panda configuration against the dark blue subdials, the tone of which matches the ceramic bezel which runs around its circumference. For the collectors out there, you'll be delighted to see there is a dot over 90. Now the first time we see Snoopy is in the 9 o'clock subdial. That's where the running seconds is. People will be really pleased to hear that despite featuring a very cool complication on the caseback that we're about to take a look at, the thickness overall hasn't been increased significantly against a normal Omega Speedmaster, which makes it more comfortable on the wrist and pretty compelling as a daily wear. The complication on the caseback that I'm talking about is of course the scene of the moon and the Earth against the backdrop of space. Now what's very cool about this is the Earth rotates once every 60 seconds because it's actually connected to, on the dial of the watch, the running seconds at 9 o'clock. But what's even cooler is when you activate the chronograph, you'll start to see Snoopy in his own lunar module rotating and making his way past the Earth and around the moon. You could show this watch to your colleague who knows nothing about watches or your 6-year-old niece or nephew, and both of them would be surprised and delighted by the very fun and playful story that this mechanical animation communicates about Omega's involvement with NASA. Powering this latest Snoopy Speedy is the Omega Caliber 3861, which is a METAS certified master chronometer that features a coaxial escapement, 50 hours of power reserve, and is manually wound. This movement was only released last year, so it's Omega's most updated moonwatch caliber, and we're delighted to see it in this new watch. The watch arrives on a navy blue, the same color as the subdials and bezel, fabric strap, which is not only comfortable and durable, but when you flip it over, you'll notice an embossed section that shows the flight path of Apollo 13 and the specific point when the astronauts used their Speedmasters to time the rocket burns and get themselves back on course to get safely home to Earth. So I've been wearing it on my wrist for a couple of days now, road testing it to see what it's like and how it would go as a daily wear. And despite my personal preference for watches that are generally kind of 40mm or below, at 42mm, I think it actually looks pretty good. The lugs taper downwards slightly with your wrist, which adds to the comfort. And despite the potentially very bulky mechanical animation on the rear of the watch, they've actually managed to keep the profile very slim and flat against your wrist, which adds to the comfort. One thing that I really like about this watch is how Omega has managed to keep the sort of Snoopy design details to a relative minimum. You can take a closer look, and of course Snoopy's going to be there for all to see. But for across the room, and for people that might not know watches as well as you or I, it looks like a relatively normal Omega Speedmaster. They might not understand why it's such a special watch. And I feel like that really adds to the impact of when you take it off, flip it over, and show them just how cool that mechanical animation is. All things considered, this is easily the most interesting Snoopy Speedy that we've seen from Omega so far. Not only because it's going to be more accessible to more people because it isn't a limited edition, but also just because of how cool the mechanical animation on the caseback is. While it isn't going to be a limited edition, it is going to be produced in limited quantities. So if you're interested in getting one of these on your wrist, Get to your local Omega boutique as quickly as possible and register your interest, because there's going to be quite a waitlist for these, I imagine. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think about this latest Omega Speedmaster Silver Snoopy Award 50th anniversary, and if you would add one to your collection. Bye for now.